We are live. Welcome to the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast, Saturday morning edition. We running it back Saturday morning since the overwhelming of positive reviews that we had, comments. So we had to run it back, see if we can keep it going, keep the good mojo going. Winning week for me. I don't know about you guys, but this is week 13 Tourney Takes podcast. I'm Kirk Dees here with my boys RG_Notorious. Noto, also Bobby Gomes, at Bobby Gomes DFS, Millie Maker winner, all around baseball crusher. Let's go. We got week 13. Gonna be an interesting slate. How we doing, boys? What's up, Noto?
Yeah, what's up? Hard to believe week 13, but yeah, best week of the season for me in week 12. So feeling pretty good. The only negative, Kirk, we went 0-2 on our teaser. I mean, Bobby came through with the Steelers pick, and we just we let the people down.
What did I take? New Orleans?
You took Arizona, and I took Cleveland, and both of them just got smoked.
I took Arizona? Doesn't sound like me.
I made the bet, so yeah, man. But Bobby came through with the Steelers.
I'll have to check the tape.
The Steelers.
But
I know absolutely. It was an easy one. I feel like I never actually sports bet outside of DFS, so that's just complete luck.
Your boy had a winning week. I smashed on Yahoo with Chris Olave, and I was Trevor Lawrence everywhere, both sites. I smashed on Draftkings, but it could have been like a really good Draftkings, but like that Bills run out was just so brutal. Everything, all the stars were aligning because I had Kieran Williams, and then all the Josh Allen teams, all the Josh Allen slappies out there got me. They got me. But still very profitable week. Good week. Want to keep the momentum going. How do you guys feel about this week? We got to me it seems like we're gonna have the two highest owned players of the year, of the season, because everywhere I look, everywhere I turn, it's Tyreek Hill, and obviously you have to play Zach Moss without JT. Unless you guys have a take when we get to running back sections. But yeah, so I think this is going to be an interesting slate to break down. What are you thinking, Noto?
Yeah, I think Moss is obviously underpriced. It's kind of a perfect combination where he started getting less work. JT started getting more involved, so his price came down, and then all of a sudden JT's out. So he's going to get 20 touches, and everyone's going to play him, and then that opens up a ton of salary. So naturally, you're going to want to spend up on somebody. And Tyreek Hill facing the worst pass defense in the NFL. So I think those two are going to be very popular together and individually. But yeah, it should be a fun slate. I kind of like the way it's shaping up. We're not looking at a ton of injuries at the moment. Tank Dell's questionable, but I think he's going to play. Olave is probably the big one. Looks like Shaheed's already out. Michael Thomas is already out, so we could have some value there in New Orleans. And outside of that, we're getting Joe Flacco starting for the Browns. That should be interesting. Maybe he can open up that passing game a little bit. And I think that's it on the injury front. Dalton Schultz is out as well, which opens up some value at tight end. But, yeah, we'll get to all that.
Tired Bobby, how we doing?
Doing good. I'm actually excited for this slate. I love when the chalk kind of condenses. I think there's some nice pivots if we want to take them. Yeah, ready to break it all down.
Nice. All right. So we've got 10 games. We've got a couple of good total games, and then it's like everything fizzles. But starting at the top, the key game, Miami is 9.5-point favorites at Washington. As Noto mentioned, the worst pass defense, gives up tons of explosive plays, and now they're seeing the fastest offense in the NFL, the most dynamic offense probably in the NFL, and with A-Chain back as well. 49.5-point total there. Then we've got a really good game. Couple of Titans, at least, it looks like, with San Francisco -3 at the Eagles, 48-point total. Then we've got Denver traveling to Houston as kind of a cheat code for some of these games. This season has been just stack the Houston game up. Houston -3 at 47.5 total there. And then we've got Detroit, 4.5-point favorites heading to the Dome in New Orleans, where we have the receiver situation is all up in the air. I am hoping Olave is out, but even if he's in, I think might be fine. This is the week where I lose all my money betting on Keith Kirkwood. Touchdown, anytime touchdown. And this, we go for it. So the us Kirkwoods out here, we support each other. So I actually have I don't know. I got to look it up. I'll look if you want to look it up while I'm talking, or I'll look it up. But anyway, I got a Keith Kirkwood autographed jersey from the Saints that my lovely girl got for me. She DM'd him and sent him the jersey, and he signed it for me. And he's always been like really nice back and forth and everything. So I'm going to send him a DM today, just support him, tell him the Kirkwoods are watching. Good luck. But this is the Kirkwood anytime touchdown bet. So let's see here.
Well, it's 600 on DraftKings. Best number.
It's the best bang for your buck you can get. That is a winner right there. So cash out the college funds, do whatever you can. Get in Keith Kirkwood anytime touchdown. And it's going to be electric. I'm going to have the jersey on. It's going to be electric. But anyway, after the Detroit game, there's really just a bunch of meh games, all the way down to this really monster total of the Falcons -2 at the Jets, 33.5. This is a Wong. This is a classic Wong, as we mentioned last week, the Jets plus 8, but I didn't take it because I just don't feel comfortable betting on them. But I actually ended up doing Cowboys with everybody this week. So I still have I've got Cowboys with a bunch of teams actually. So thank God they covered the Wong for me. It was looking a little dicey there for a little while. But all right, we'll get into it. We're going to start at the running back position like we always do. Go to quarterback, align that with our wide receivers for our stacks, talk some tight ends. Bobby is said the most prepared he's ever been for a show, so he's going to be doing the defensive segment again. Big momentum after last week, and then we will end it with our favorite stacks for large field, small field contests. First thing I always do is look at the blitz most plays. I correlate that with the Thorman snaps and pace, see if we're getting any overlap. The blitz has got a bunch of games. The top two I don't really have much interest in. It's the Chargers at New England for most plays. I mean, I don't know. I'm not even going to comment on the Patriots at this point. Although Ramondre took me to the promised land last week. But also there's the Browns at the Rams second, and then Detroit at New Orleans for most plays via the blitz. Thorman snaps and plays has Detroit, New Orleans, so we've got correlation there. Miami, Washington, and Denver, Houston. Those are going to be the three chalkiest games most likely, but for good reason. All right. Running back position. We got to start it off right at the top. We're going to have the chalkiest play, as Noto alluded to. The reasoning, the price came down for Zach Moss. We saw him smash earlier in the season. He's had some monster games, 36.5-point fantasy in week 5 against the Titans, playing the Titans again, and JT is out. It's 4,600. This just looks like a free square, move on type of situation, but there's always injury. There's always potential bust. Tennessee does have somewhat of a decent run defense. So I'll be interested to hear you guys take there. Christian McCaffrey is going to get a lot of love at 9K as one of the top studs. I think that he'll be popular. I think people will prioritize Tyreek over him, I would think, but it's very possible to play them all together. Rashad White just gets the dream matchup against Carolina. Just keeps trucking along with really solid production. Has showed a nice floor, nice usage. Hit the 100 yards on the nose last week. Got a couple of targets, so he gets targets, gets a big workload. Great matchup. Javonte, Ramondre's picking up steam. The Patriots have no one with Pop. It's Davis. Yeah, Pop Davis, Bobby.
Yep.
Yeah. Going down, Breece Hall's in the mix, Kamara's in the mix, Jalen Warren, Achane. I don't know. Noto, who are your favorites?
Yeah, I want to hear you guys' take on Zach Moss, just in large field stuff, because I play mostly small field stuff, and I think he's going to be 70% on single entry, maybe even higher. Cash games, it's pretty much a lock, but yeah, I don't know how you guys are going to approach him in large field stuff. I think the path for him not getting there is if you have 3 other running backs that just smash, and you need those 3 running backs in large field stuff. But I'm going to play him. You mentioned he had a big game against Tennessee earlier this season, and the way I look at it, if you would like JT at this price point with Moss out, you should probably like Moss at this price point with JT out. I like McCaffrey quite a bit. He scored in, I think, 15 of the last 16 regular season games, which is pretty nuts. I know the Eagles are pretty tough against the run, but he's going to get there. Trent Williams is playing, which is always a good thing for McCaffrey. You mentioned Rashad White in that matchup. I'll be on him. I like Jalen Warren. You do worry about Najee kind of still on the touchdowns because that's what happened last week, but Warren's the more explosive of the 2. He's topped 100 yards in 3 of the last 4 games. And then I also like Derrick Henry. This is December. He kind of came live a little bit last week. The Titans threw the ball more than I was expecting them to, but another good matchup at home against the Colts. So those are kind of the 5 I'm looking at. And then if Zeke ends up being out, then I'll be on Ramondre with you, Kirk.
Yeah, I faded JT and Cash last week on DraftKings. Guess who I played over him?
Henry?
Yeah.
But they do the same thing pretty much.
Yeah, it was fine. It didn't. I saved a little salary. And then I'd love to see the complaining on Twitter saying, he falls into the end zone, runs so good. Like you play Derrick Henry for red zone carries, for touchdown equity. Like I hate that argument. How people say the fall in the end zone. It's like if that's what you're expecting, it's why we play these guys. Bobby, what do you got lined up at running back?
Yeah, gonna be a little contrarian this week. My favorite play at the running back position. I know you kind of poo-pooed the game at the start of the show, Kirkwood. I really like Austin Eckler in this spot. The industry is kind of moving to people looking at matchups. Eckler has a horrible matchup last 5. Schedule adjusted versus New England. They've been fantastic versus the run. I don't really know who they've played. Like they played the Jets last week. Like I can't imagine the defense is really that great. Like I said, like we kind of hit on, people are going to McCaffrey at 9K, which is fine. I think McCaffrey's a super strong play, obviously. Alvin Kamara is going to be super popular at 8.2. I would just rather pay the extra $100 for Eckler. Getting into Eckler, like people kind of think he's bad, but he's played Baltimore, Green Bay, Detroit, the Jets, and Chicago. KC, last 6 games. Like they obviously haven't been great. If the Patriots are gonna bracket Allen, I think there's gonna be a lot of opportunity for Eckler. I'm probably the only Eckler stan in the industry on this slate currently, I would imagine.
That's nice because he's 3% owned or something. So this is a nice play if you hit this.
Yeah, he's 3% owned. On top of that, the blitz has been pretty accurate with like the pace and the game factors. So I would imagine like taking guys from this game is going to be super contrarian, and with the pace up spot, it's going to make you different. He's someone I really like. I think he's a very, very strong play, especially if you want to get away from one of those 2. And what'd you say?
Sorry, I have a question for you. Quick, sorry to jump in. Do you think that the Pats tanked last week and missed the field goal?
I would hope it makes sense, right? Like I feel like you should be tanking. I know a lot of people don't really love that take, but if you have the opportunity to land a high draft pick, I don't see why you wouldn't try to better your team. But going back to Eckler, dude, super strong tournament play on the slate. Like no one's gonna go there. I think it's a fantastic play. In terms of Zach Moss, like I think this is another way in this game that you can get different if you're going to beat Zach Moss chalk, I'm playing at least one of Tyreek and Zach Moss. But I like the idea of like double tight ends. And there's a couple cheap ones in this game, along with Zappy. I'm pretty sure Zappy targeted Hunter Henry a lot during his starts last season. So I don't mind like that little game stack if you're running Eckler. Also, one of these Patriots receivers where projections can't really predict who's going to get the ball in this offense. Devontae Parker's in a good spot. We saw last week the right receiver was crushing, whether it was Beckham or was Flowers or was Bateman, whoever was on this, like whoever got the right corner on this Chargers team was doing pretty well. So I just like this whole game as a mini game stack. I know we're talking about running backs, but I just want to hit on that. Devon Achane is someone else at the running back position at 6'9". Like the projection, even for the ceiling, is just too low. I'm going to smash that. I don't know if you're running Sims. Like I just boosted Miami's total. Like their total is 4 points higher than anyone else on the slate. I gave them like a 35-point team total. So I'm kind of figuring like more of like a Dallas score from the other day. So whatever that was, I'll probably end up on. Yeah, I love Achane. I think the industry thinks he's going to be kind of eased in, but he probably could have played last week. When he came out of the game, he probably didn't have to come out of the game. It was more precautionary. So I like him a good bit. Yeah. Bijan Robinson, like we've seen him get a ton of snaps last week, and the coaching staff pretty much said that they're going to lean on him more going forward at 6,700. So I like him. Like this for me is like another spot where it's pace up. The Jets aren't the greatest matchup, but I think that these like middling running backs, and I'll get to the next one here shortly, Karen Williams at 7,200, they're going to get lost in translation on this slate because everyone's trying to get to Tyreek, McCaffrey, like these guys that we're basically saying have the highest ceiling, which obviously makes sense and it fits in construction, but we're trying to win GPPs, right? So that's pretty much my take on those three running backs. Are probably my three favorite running backs on the slate. I like the Henry call. I think he's fine, especially if like a path to Moss failing is like the Tennessee Titans going up, and it's more of like a PPR game for Moss. I don't. He's not my favorite at 6,800. Like I'd prefer Achane and Bijan in that same range, and Karen at 72, but I think he's fine. The Pittsburgh running backs, Jalen Warren and Najee, I think Pittsburgh likely wins the game, so it might be more of a Najee Harris game, but the flop lag makes me want to get more Warren than Harris because people were trying to make Warren work last week. And yeah, I think those guys are probably the guys that I have the most interest in. On the low end around Moss, Antonio Gibson's at 4,500. Tajay Spears in that same Tennessee indie game for larger field stuff. I think they make sense. Devin Singletary, like obviously the passing game has been phenomenal, but it could be more of a Singletary game at 5.9. If Zeke is out, I'm playing Stevenson anyways because I'll have some Zappy. But I do think Stevenson would be a much stronger play in that scenario. Rashad White, 6,300 chalk. I don't think I'm getting there. Like I said, the Kamara at 8,200. Like if Olave's out, it probably bumps Detroit defense. I don't want to play Kamara in a chalk at that price, so not going there. I feel like people are going to play Kamara, and I just think it's a bad play in the context of the slate. And yeah, that's pretty much running back. You throw Kenneth Gainwell in there at 4,500 in larger field stuff too, just as someone who's cheap and in that range of Zach Moss. Not that I think let's not get it twisted. Like Zach Moss is a fantastic play. It's just a matter of how you play him. Like I think I'm playing at least one of him or Tyreek, but no more than two of him, Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek and smaller stuff, I would say is the rule I would make. In the millie, I don't know how much McCaffrey I'm even going to have, just because I think I'm going to take a pretty strong stand on Eckler. But yeah, that's running back.
I didn't expect to hear Gainwell against the Niners today. So put
I
that
know.
on the board.
Gainwell's more of just like a throw in for a guy that's around the Moss price tag in a pace up spot, I guess.
How much do you like Ramondre?
I would like him a lot more if Zeke was out. I think he's fine. Like, I feel like he's going to hit optimals. He's going to get ownership. If Zeke plays, he's going to get ownership. I'm still playing him.
21 carries last week. I'm not worried about Zeke.
Yeah, that too. Like, I'm not. He's fine. Like, I don't have issue at all. I'm just trying to think of ways, just from a GPP perspective. I think Ramondre is a good play. Don't get me wrong. Another one, Breece Hall, like 6,400 right there in the Ramondre price range versus Atlanta. I just like the upside in a dome. We see how like all it takes is one for Breece. You know, he can take one to the house from 60 or 70. So that's always nice in GPPs at low ownership, I would imagine. Is he low? No, we're seeing he's going to be.
Breece is going to be owned. I got him at like 15%. 10 to 15 around the industry.
Yeah.
Fine. It's fine. It's nothing too bad.
Yeah, that's running.
Let's see. I mean, Kieran is a beast in the passing game. He was last week against Arizona. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. So now, like, looking to plug in another back through Arizona would be Najee or Warren. I think people are going to try to make Warren work again. I think he's going to be real popular this week. But kudos to you for being on the Freiermuth.
Yeah, I think it's another Freiermuth week this week.
He's got the top tight end matchup advantage for Pro PFF, Pro Football Focus, too.
Yeah, yeah, I like Freiermuth a good bit.
Anything to add?
He's another. What's Freiermuth's tag? Do we have a tag? He's cheap, right?
No, he's expensive now.
He's expensive.
He's overpriced now, but could be a good thing. And because it is, a lot of people are going to be doing the double tight end. Everyone's going to be playing Juwan Johnson, Brevin Jordan, just so they can fit McCaffrey, Tyreek, and more of an expensive quarterback if they want to. Yeah, but I mean, man, he's smashed. Cincy. Anything to add, Noto?
A couple other situations. We didn't talk about Javonte Williams. I don't think it looks like he's going to be pretty popular. I'm not really on the Broncos this week, especially their passing attack as much as the field, but want to get your takes on Javonte. And then how about Detroit's running backs? We've seen the Saints really struggle against the run recently. They gave a big game to Bijan. They gave a big game to Ty Chandler the week before that, Deontay Foreman the week before that. So I think the Lions are in a pretty interesting spot. We know how banged up the Saints are, so we could see the Lions kind of run away with this game after really bad performance on Thanksgiving. I think they're two interesting tournament plays, but yeah, I like the Kyron call. And yeah, you guys playing Javonte?
I'm like trying to get away from him personally. The price tag looks nice, but I'm with you. I feel like this game is going totally over-owned. Because I think it feels like the forced game. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, okay, Houston, the shootouts, let's go. Like, because there's just not much left. That's how it feels to me. And then, like, I also don't like Pirine. Pirine got 7 carries last week. You would think he would get more targets. He only got 1 target. Javonte had more targets. I think Javonte had 6 targets, actually, which is nice to see. I think he could be a good play. You know, it was a tough matchup last week where he busted against Cleveland. I'm trying to get away from it. I'm trying to get away from Russ too.
Same.
I guess if Olave sits, I would have more interest in like these Detroit running backs because then you can correlate them with the Detroit defense. I think at that point, just being the defensive guy on the show, you probably want to get a little different with Detroit D because they're going to be pretty chalky at 2,500 in that scenario.
All righty. So do you have a preference between Gibbs or Monty?
Gibbs.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. game script would favor Monty, but I think Gibbs is kind of making his way in this backfield. So I probably won't know till tomorrow for sure. But I don't know. I'd say Gibbs just because of the upside, but either or.
All right, let's move it on to quarterback. From an ownership perspective, well, the best play, like if we could easily fit them, and we may very well if Olave goes out, like Jalen Hurts, 8,200. The tush push gets talked about way too much, but it's valid. The rushing upside is always there for touchdowns, big separator, but he is expensive. Tua is right behind him, Noto, which is like interesting to me at 7,900. I feel like, so it's tough, right? Like I want to jam Tua, but I feel like because Tyreek is going to be so high owned, like Tua's just going to get a bunch of extra ownership like that normally wouldn't. So I'm not sure how to play that, but I definitely like doubles, like the idea of doubles, like and hope that Washington can do some pushback in this game. Purdy and Russ are like the cheap ones that everyone's flocking to. Sam Howell on the other end of Tyreek there also has been pretty damn consistent. Anytime you can get a quarterback that's going to throw 40 plus passing attempts, you got to be interested. I mean, look at the last 5 weeks: 52, 45, 44, 45, 44. Not the most efficient by any measure. Had some tough matchups in there, but has even against Dallas, he put up 21 fantasy points, which sounds pretty good at the price. So I don't mind that. But then there's Stroud, who's overpriced. Probably not going to get much ownership because of the cost. I don't know. People are going to play some Baker, some Minshew. I don't know, Noto. Who's your faves?
On a per dollar basis, give me all the Brock Purdy. The Eagles they're not very good defensively. I don't know. I mean, the record, they've only lost one game this season. I think that's kind of helping cover how bad their defense has been. We saw Josh Allen put up 44 against them last week, and Purdy just throws for 2 touchdowns in like 70% of his starts, which is pretty crazy. All of his weapons are healthy. The price isn't bad, and yeah, Philly's giving up the second most fantasy points to quarterbacks. So give me all the Purdy.
I'm dying for the 49ers to win, to beat Philly. I think they're frauds. And here's a little pro.
Yeah.
I hate coaches who at this age in their life that wears the visors. Like, grow up. Put on a real hat or don't wear a hat at all. Like, get rid of these visors, I don't know, Sirianni. Yeah. I'm not a big fan. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, yeah, I was watching the game with my brother-in-law last week, and he hates him too for whatever reason. But yeah, so I like Purdy a lot. Where was I go? I like Tua, the double stacks, like you mentioned. If he's going to get 30, then Tyreek and Waddle are probably going to go off. And then my kind of dark horse play of the week is going to be Kenny Pickett. I know he hasn't been great in his career, but Arizona, one of the worst pressure rate teams in the league. Pickett's got all of his weapons back with Freiermuth. I like George Pickens quite a bit this week. And, yeah, new offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, was out. Pickett completed 73% of his passes, his most efficient game of the year. Kind of get off of the chalky Jalen Warren a little bit if you do play Pickett. So 5,100, I think he can get you 20, and maybe that's enough at that price point.
What about Deontay Johnson with him? Well, first of all, he's taking plays off, and looks like just like a complainer, a whiner, but I guess he addressed that with the team and made a big apology, and everyone's all good with him. So maybe there's a little narrative there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take Pickens over Deontay just because he doesn't drop the ball every time he touches it. And I mean, the team's got to not be happy with, even though they said everything's fine. I can't imagine the team's all that happy with him. But yeah, I'll take Pickens, but you can do double stack if you want. The Steelers are so cheap, and they have the best matchup on the board. So I'm kind of trying to get overweight on all of them.
Bobby, come in hot with Joey Flacco, or don't come at all. Yeah, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry, kid crying in the background.
Woo!
Yeah,
You have to. Yeah.
No, I get you. Yeah, kid was crying in the background. Yeah, I was saying Deontay Johnson, like how good would he be if he actually could catch a football? I like the Pickett call. I like Pickens. I like all the weapons. I like Freiermuth, like we talked about. I think he's fine. It's interesting. Tua wasn't optimal when they put up 60 versus Denver. I know the running backs did get there. I'm still playing Tua, but I think doubles are definitely in play. But it does make me want to pay down at quarterback. Purdy, I love Purdy. His road splits aren't the greatest. I would play like Purdy, Moss, Hill at most two, because that's in smaller field stuff. That's where a lot of like builds are probably trending, I would imagine. There are, like I said, I like Zappy, like Howell a bit. Howell's going to get steamed up. He's going to be very chalky. Gardner Minshew, you're right back to this. Pittman, Downs, I think those guys are fine. On the other side, Baker to Evans, I like. Will Levis, not on the other side. That was last week's game. Sorry, but either way, Baker to Evans versus Carolina. Will Levis with Hopkins, I think, is interesting at 5-2. Like I'm dumpster diving at QB because I do want to fit one of Tyreek. I just want to get to Tyreek and then some of these middling guys, and it just kind of takes up a lot of salary. Definitely not playing Russ at high ownership.
It can be done with Sam
Howell. I think Howell's a good play. I just think Howell's going to be like the industry is going to be trying to. He's like 100 more than Purdy. Howell, I'm definitely playing. Don't get me wrong, but like I think his weapons are great. Curtis Samuel for one. Seeing what he kind of did, he was targeting a good bit last week, so I don't mind him. I don't mind. I think there was a good price for McLaurin, Dotson. Yeah, so they're all these guys are in play. I'm trying to pay down a quarterback. Not going to play Bryce Young, but I think some of his weapons are in play for larger field stuff. I think we pretty much covered all the cues. CJ Stroud, obviously, you can play all. We know what CJ Stroud is at this point. He's an absolute monster. So he is expensive though at 8,100. Hurts is 82. I don't think I'll have as much of these guys as those two because I'll probably be playing two and then paying down at quarterback the majority. Flacco hitting at 4,600. Flacco won a bunch of millies, right? So I don't know if you want to go to Flacco, Elijah Moore. They've showed rapport previously. I definitely like Moore this week. He's going to be trending up in terms of ownership because of his tag and his rapport with Flacco. And the Rams secondary isn't the greatest. So, yeah, those are pretty much all my guys.
I can't, even if he's 4,600, I can't play a quarterback that's older than Head Chopper. Just can't.
How old is he? Is he 40 yet?
Let's Google it. Joe Flacco age.
Did he play last year? Is that the last time he played?
He's 38.
Okay.
38 years young. Full head of hair still.
Older than us? That's not good.
Terrible. Yeah, terrible. All right. What else? Oh, I have some. So I was reading. So I'll double down on the Brock Purdy love. I was reading Scott Barrett's article on Fantasy Points. That basically he said that he averages like 330 plus yards, 26 DK points against poorly rated pass defenses. And the Eagles, by pass rate over expectation allowed, are the number one pass funnel in the NFL. So that stuck out to me. Also that, JM, like you were talking about, I remember how JM was talking about for a past week that, you don't need to necessarily bring a run back in 49ers when they hit. So I think this is like the perfect slate to play that way, like, because it's tough to get it's tough to get the guys you want. Like, let's say, obviously the ones that it's pretty easy to pick. It's CMC, it's Kittle, it's Ayuk, and it's Debo, right? And they're all somewhat pretty costly. So it's also tough to bring a run back on the other side with Philly because AJ Brown is the guy you probably want, and he's expensive. Devontae after some solid games is expensive. So I think it makes a lot of sense to do that this week with just filling in the value that you get with no run back from the Eagles. I think it could hit. Who else do I want? It's tough for me this week, but yeah, I think Sam Howell is my guy on DraftKings, but good, subject to change. I don't know.
So are we all off
done?
Wilson?
I think we're supposed to be at this ownership.
Seems like nobody wants to play him. Is there a chance that he ends up being a lot lower owned?
Yeah, this is the play everybody talks about? He comes in at 7% and then he smashes.
I mean, if the Broncos do throw, there's not better matchup really.
Does he ever really smash though? Is the question.
No, that's why I don't want to play him. But it's because they just run the ball a bunch, and then I don't know.
I mean, so I get it for cash, but I think I'm all set for tournaments with him. I'm going to try to get some more upside. Kenny Pickett beats him, like you said, I think. Big ticket Pickett. That's what we call him around here after this week.
CJ Stroud,
all right.
Too expensive?
I think so, just because it's tough for the builds, but I mean, he's so good that is he too expensive? I mean, he's earned this price, no?
Yeah. Last 4 games, 34, 21, 25, 45 fantasy points. Nobody's playing him.
45 would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did either of you guys give a Minshew or Baker take?
Probably talked
Said
about
Baker's
Minshew.
playable. Yeah. Talked about Minshew, yeah. They're both playable. I'm done for diving, so I'm going to play some of these QBs that other weeks I'd probably have zero interest in.
You're gonna
playing some Zappy 48. I'd much rather play Zappy than Joe Flacco.
Zappy, Hunter
Zappy's
Henry
a good
revenge
play. Same tag
with
as
Zappy with Hunter Henry for your stack, and then obviously
that's what I'm trying to say. That's Zappy, Hunter Henry's the stack. That's the stack. Run it back with Eckler.
He sucks though. All right. Well, let's move on.
Sucks, he's been competent.
We've gone too far.
Didn't they win 5 games in a row last year with him as the quarterback? I
saw a report they're going to bring in some other guy for a bunch of plays.
Oh no!
Really?
I don't know. Let me see if I can find it. I didn't recognize the name.
Shefty?
No, the guy that they're.
No, was it a Schefter report or was it
Malik Cunningham? They have a package of plays for Malik Cunningham.
Oh my God!
All right.
I don't know.
That kind of hurts Ramondre if it's a goal line situation thing.
His job is going to be to give it to Ramondre. They need to use Ramondre even more. I don't know. It was crazy. That's why I felt like they were tanking. It's like the run was so successful last week, and it was so obvious, and yet they kept still trying to throw. And Mac was just so the picks that he throws. I mean, he's just damaged goods. You can't. It felt like they were just absolutely tanking. And then, but the thing is, it's Belichick. You would think Belichick is too proud to tank. Is he? I don't know. Because when they missed that field goal, I'm like, okay, wait a minute here, And that's what pissed me off too. It's I needed 3 yards from Ramondre last week, so I wanted overtime there. I had the Jaguars stacked, right? So they missed a field goal for overtime there. And then the Bills freaking get the overtime to come back and catch me. It was you can't run worse in that situation. Sorry, I'm tilting. Still tilted, obviously.
Yeah, I'm pretty much, I don't know, I'm still playing a little bit of Zappy. That does make me a little bit nervous, I guess, if Cunningham's going to actually get some work. But what are you going to do? More just a milli.
Wide receiver. Be balls. Play the game changer and show up with a Zappy, Hunter Henry, and Eckler lineup. I don't know. Or should we all
I get
split
it.
Split it. Should we all split it and go with that? All right,
I don't know.
Tyreek, absolute best play on the slate.
Yeah,
I have nothing bad to say about him at wide receiver. Sorry, what's up, Bobby?
No, I was gonna help you along with wide receiver, but yeah, get into Tyreek. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. Tyreek, everyone's saying lock him. I mean, he gets the nut matchup. The guy just goes off in every scenario. 9,600 is a tough price. Like, also he's had an ankle and hamstring potential injuries along the way, but he's healthy and he's I'm just trying to like think of like what way could you fade him? Who's gonna beat him? But I mean, it is possible, but I certainly think he's gonna smash. Pittman is just against Tennessee, pass funnel, everyone says. Pittman should just get peppered with targets. 13 targets last week, 10 receptions, still smashed 24 Draftkings points without a touchdown. Got to think there's some touchdown equity in this spot. Scary Terry's going to be owned just because of the bring back for Tyreek. I do like Bobby's call on Curtis Samuel a lot. I think the price there, the savings is definitely worth it. And he's a all around gadget guy. And he got 12 freaking targets on Thanksgiving. Ridiculous. Cortland Sutton is going to be the Russ pairing, and I get it. The guy's been a touchdown scorer every week. It seems like. So he went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row until finally not getting in the end zone against Cleveland last week. But with a touchdown, he has the connection. Jerry Jeudy looks he's kind of like Deontay Johnson, I'd say, at this point. Like, just not what we were expecting, and seems to have some attitude issues. So Judy's out in my eyes. Amon-Ra is always in play. Debo, Tank Dell, obviously, although there's a little thing of an injury, a little nick injury situation potentially with him, but in his calf. But they're going to be without who's out?
Schultz is out, and it looks like Noah
Schultz.
Brown. Noah
Yeah,
Brown's
Noah's back. It looks like. I thought he was going to be out, but he's back.
Oh, really?
I think it looks like he's going to be back. I think that was the last report I read. But so you were like me, thinking he was going to be
practice. He didn't practice Friday. He was limited and then didn't practice. So we'll see.
Okay. Anyways, whatever. It's Nico. It's Tank. Those are the plays. Ayuk, obviously, 7,200 is kind of nice. Well, it's 7,600. Ultimate leverage off Tyreek, but they'll probably both get there in this matchup. Puka, like to hear a Cooper Kupp take by anyone if they're going to go there. But who do you think? What are you thinking, Noto?
Yeah, in terms of the chalk, love Tyreek, love Pittman, both in great matchups. You always have the PFF cornerback wide receiver matchups. I'd be curious to see if they have Surtain going up against Nico, because if they do, then that's even a better spot for Tank Dell. So yeah, I liked him quite a bit.
It is Surtain versus Nico.
Okay, so that's kind of what I figured. Just even more reason to play Tank Dell. Not that Nico can't get there. Obviously cornerback matchups aren't everything, but another reason to like Tank. And then, I already talked about George Pickens. He's kind of my favorite lower owned option of the week. What are you guys doing with New England with all those guys? Are you playing any of them? I know you like Zappy, so anyone else besides Henry you're pairing him with, Bobby?
I think Parker gets the best matchup. He's the right wide receiver. I'm interested
Parker
to see
Juju,
like who they
right?
suit up. Yeah, there's no way I'm playing Juju. There's like I'd rather just take shots in larger field stuff on Taekwon or Jalen Reagor. If I think Boots out.
Ooh, Reagor.
Yeah, we're not. This is just like if they make my pool, but Parker would be my favorite for sure. I wish they would incorporate Thornton more just because of the speed, or just draw stuff up for him. Like, he's 4.25. We know how bad this Chargers secondary is. He has been playing, but I don't know. I think he caught like 2 passes last week. It's just, I wish they would dress Booty, like, or however you say his name, but I don't think he's dressing. It says he's out on my stuff. Yeah, it would be Parker. Other wide receivers I like. Tyreek's the obvious spend up. Ayuk's my second favorite by a long shot. Just that for every reason Kirk gave on the Philly secondary when we talked about quarterback. I like Debo as well. So if you are getting away from McCaffrey, or you're coming in at the field or a little bit under, I think like Purdy to the receivers and throw Kittle in the mix. I think it's just a differentiated way to play the slate. Probably have Jalen Waddle on every team that I don't have Tyreek, unless I just fully lock Tyreek and then get Waddle in some doubles. Probably can't fit Waddle. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you're probably right. But it's an expensive stack with Tua, Waddle, and Tyreek. So it would probably have to be Howell on the other side, which I'm perfectly fine with for all the reasons that both of you gave.
You could even
Mike Evans.
Let's build this right now. Let's double. Let's take Howell.
Kirk's building his single entry team as we go.
Tyreek,
Howell, Curtis Samuel,
Tyreek, Waddle, and then we'll double it with.
Don't go Waddle. Go A chain. Go A chain there. A chain's the play.
Well,
there. I'm telling you.
Let's start. Okay, I will, but let's start with Waddle. Tyreek, Waddle, and let's double it with Samuel and Terry, and let's see what we get here.
I think the 2-2 game stack is very viable this week.
Oh my God,
I don't hate that at all.
It's the most beautiful lineup I've ever seen. Want me to?
Yeah, you and everyone else who's going to play this game stack are
they're not going to do this. They're not going to double each. They're not going to. It's going to be Howell, McLaurin, Samuel.
I know it's not the same thing, but didn't you win? Didn't you finish third in the MLB Live final with 3 outfielders from the same team, which is kind of an interesting strategy in single entry.
When they say you can't do it, that's when I say you can do it.
Prove them wrong.
Yeah, he's going to throw enough. Howell will definitely throw enough, and there's no pass rush from the Dolphins.
So this is like, so you can do depending on how you want to go at D. You got two. You obviously you play Moss. You've got the double stack each way. You get the tight end of the day and Juwan Johnson for the cheap on the Saints. You could go Brevin for even cheaper if you wanted and bump up a running back. But you could also fit Jalen Warren or Rashad White, depending on which defense you can play, Falcons or Pats. All right, I think I already built my single entry team. Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah.
Woo!
No, I don't hate it. Like, I think it's fine. Like, these Washington receivers are definitely cheap enough, so it makes sense. Deontay and Pickens, like you guys said, Noto specifically, I think they're very good plays versus Arizona secondary. Marquise, too. Like, if Marquise plays, don't let Marquise get lost in translation. 12 targets last week and pretty positive. He's still seeing a ton of usage. The matchups haven't been great, and now he's getting a situation that obviously we know the ceiling that he has. I just wouldn't write him off, especially in that range where we're going to find chalky receivers like Sutton, like McLaurin. So Elijah Moore, we talked about his report, Flacco. That's going to get steamed up at 3.5, but whatever. Like, if you're playing large field, he's throwing him in there is fine. Jalen Guyton for the Chargers, like, he busted in an island game. I don't mind Guyton at all. In that Pittsburgh game, Greg Dortch, these are just like large field plays, but like, we need to get cheap. If you're trying to get away from Zach Moss in any way, you got to get cheap somewhere. So guys like Dortch, Rondell Moore, I'd even throw Alec Pierce if you're playing like a Minshew stack into the mix. Marvin Mims, 3,300. This is all large field stuff, guys. Quentin Johnson stinks, but He's terrible. Braxton Berrios is another Miami guy. I bumped their team total up to 40, so I'm sure I'll get some Berrios in my pool. Tyquan Thornton. These are just very long
Bobby
shot plays.
Bobby showed up today. We got Berrios. You're hitting players.
I didn't sleep last night. I just turned on. I just started looking through everything on my laptop. Tank Dell, if like Noto said, Nico gets Surtain, like him a good bit. Devontae Smith would be my favorite out of AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. AJ Brown, it's a great situation for Brown. I think I just prefer Smith because of the pass rush and just the quick targets more. But Smith is 7,300. And like I said, I like a ton of running backs in this range where I think people are going to try to force one of these two receivers, which is obviously fine, but it's just like, I don't know. AJ Brown's up to 8,800, but still Smith at 7,300. He falls in a range where I like a lot of running backs. Thielen, great matchup versus Tampa Bay. Did I say Mingo? Throw him in there for larger field stuff if you're playing 150. That's pretty much it.
I gotta stop you. I have to stop
Juju.
you.
I can never do Juju in my life.
Just name everybody.
Stop me. Mingo, for what it's worth.
How do we hit the self-exclude button? You got to hit the self-exclude button this week with Braxton Berrios and freaking Zappy.
But no, Bobby, if Olave's out, who's your preferred Saints punt? Because we know Kirk who he's going with.
Bobby's going to go anti the Kirkwood name. That's what he does. That's what he's going to do.
It's A.T. Perry, but to be honest, I just like Detroit defense in that scenario. And I would imagine Kamara's ownership comes down, so then you have to rethink him in your script, I guess.
What about Taysom?
It's just that Taysom. I like Taysom. What's Taysom's price?
Too much.
So if Taysom's priced up, people are going to think he's overpriced, but he's actually probably underpriced for the scenario, right?
He's probably going to throw. He's probably going to throw, catch, and run a touchdown in. And Big T is going to go 6 to 9.
We're talking. He could. Yeah. So it could be a situation where I'm with you on Taysom. What's his price? 5.2. Yeah, I would bump some Taysom. No one's going to play Taysom.
Yeah, everybody likes Juwan Johnson this week.
Yeah.
No, exactly. So I think I'm with you.
And it was always
Taysom's fine. Are we transitioning into tight ends now, Kirkwood?
We're getting you off a wide receiver. I'll tell you that. We're doing too many.
Or I have to hit the self-exclude. Yeah.
Jonathan,
I should hit self-exclude from NBA if you do specific sports at this point.
We just need it's the kid.
But yeah, keep going.
It's the kid. It's the sleep. It's getting everybody. All right, so let's Noto. You got any? I wanted to say so.
Dude, it's NBA is a nightmare.
I looked up the PFF matchups and they had it kind of split for Nico and Tank with Surtain, but they had it as a plus matchup for each anyway. But they're the best matchup advantage on the slate. Brandon Ayuk, Thielen is the second, then followed by Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, then Tyreek Hill, then George Pickens. So right now, I'm thinking Noto was on to a big ticket Pickett and Pickens. Deontay's up there too. Like, could this be a double stack week? I don't know. Crazier things have happened. Then Debo. So those are the matchups right there. All right, tight end, and I'll start it with the matchup advantage from PFF. They like Freiermuth the best from a matchup standpoint. Trey McBride, then George Kittle, then Juwan Johnson. Hunter Henry makes the board. All right, but who's going to be popular this week? So we're gonna talk about in your MME builds, Bobby, are you going to go with double tight end? Like, I'm almost thinking like double tight end is going to get played too much. And so I was thinking I would like click the no double tight end button. But interesting to hear your thoughts because Brevin Jordan at 2,500 and then Juwan Johnson at 3,400 project very well. The problem is they don't have really high ceilings. So from a ceiling standpoint in large field, that's why I'm interested in what you're going to say. But other than that, who else is popular? Njoku, Logan Thomas, Kate Otten, Hunter Henry, Chig, Kittle. I don't know. Bobby, answer that question, then we'll go to Noto.
When I go double tight end, I'm probably getting away from Zach Moss a good bit, so I don't mind it. Just for the savings it would provide, pretty much. Yeah, that's my take.
All right, Noto.
Yeah, I like Brevin Jordan quite a bit. Min salary on DraftKings. I think he's kind of an easy plug, but he'll probably be in those Moss, Tyreek, McCaffrey lineups like Bobby was mentioning. So maybe you want to make a rule to only play 2 or 3 of them. Like Njoku, I think, Joe Flacco hopefully can open up that offense a little bit. And outside of that, I don't love the position. I'll play some Taysom. I like that call. Yeah, Hunter Henry, I'm fine with him. Logan Thomas is an easy way to get exposure to the Washington side of that game. But it's a pretty ugly week for tight ends for me.
All right, Bobby, come in. You better be coming in with Jack Stoll, Ian Thomas, names like that, or I'm going to be disappointed. Who we got?
Hunter Henry, 3-1. Really like him.
I like it.
One of my favorite tight ends on the slate. Already talked about him enough. George Kittle, 6'2", paying up a tight end would be differentiated. Kirk mentioned all of the chalk that's under 3K. So, yeah, I like Kittle a good bit, especially getting away from McCaffrey if you are. Like, he's just negative leverage on McCaffrey near the end zone, so you can make that case. I'm just galaxy braining. McBride, I'll play some Laporta just because of the team total and the pace. Not Njoku, Taysom. This is just the reason this is like my player pool, so I'm just going over everyone. Freiermuth, he's obviously grading up very well, and then his tags come up. That's just something to be cognizant of. Tyler Conklin at 3K, good matchup versus Atlanta. Brevin Jordan chalk. Gesicki's at the same price. Definitely not playing Durham Smythe, even though he's in that Miami situation. Those are the tight ends that I have any sort of interest in, but probably will just condense around like 5 of them. I have no idea. Tight end's not the greatest.
No, it is not. But that does make Kittle kind of interesting. I think Taysom. I think
Kittle's my favorite play. Yeah, I think you're right on Taysom. Kittle and Ayuk are just great plays, I would imagine, on the slate in general. I think the idea for Taysom is he's too pricey, but I think he's actually too cheap in this scenario.
But like, there's no his role. Weird. I get it.
I'm not.
His role should be up. Like they need him, right? Like everywhere, right? Like he can be used as a receiver. He can be used for goal line. They can be used. Like this makes perfect sense to like actually need him instead of just being a troll.
We didn't hit on Gerald Everett.
Go for it.
They have no pass catchers, much like the Patriots, the Chargers, and he's cheap. That's it.
All right. Well, guess what?
Parham play? I wonder if Parham's in. Is Parham in?
They're both probably in, I would think. Let me check. Yeah, Parham looks fun.
Parham, 3,300.
He's 3,300.
I don't know. We're naming everyone. I play. This is more from a Millie perspective. I'm not like if you're single entry, pay attention to Noto and Kirkwood more.
Don't at you and Braxton when they show up with their single entry and Braxton Berrios.
Do not play Braxton Berrios in single entry.
get that on record. All right. Well, it's your time to shine. Defensive segments. Who you got?
Thanks for saving it for me.
I mean, you shined all
got?
show, but this is your time to shine again. Sorry, I said that wrong.
This is a flu game on no sleep, so this is.
Well, yeah. I just made a lineup. I just made my lineup,
Detroit's
and I love it.
Chalk defense. Detroit's going to be the chalk defense if what's his name, Olave's out.
Olave.
If you try to go cheap at defense, it becomes very difficult. Like it gets tough, right?
There's no good cheap.
I think the Panthers, the 2,500 would be interesting versus Baker. Yeah. And they're really banged up on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know. Who did you like? Who was your? Yeah, it's going to be the Patriots that everyone's going to play. But I said I liked Eckler, so I can't.
No, I don't like the Patriots. I was just saying that for cheap, there's the Panthers and there's the Pats. I don't like them, but they're cheap.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that. Yeah, it's tough. Like, maybe the Texans versus Russ at 3-3 when people are, but no one's playing Russ. Like, I feel like that ownership's inflated, and like Noda said, we're gonna get a lower number. Yeah, I think it would be the Panthers for me at 2-5 versus Tampa, just because Baker can throw some picks. The Eagles at 2-8. Like, people are gonna like a lot of ownership's condensing there just for Purdy and McCaffrey, and I know the Eagles aren't great versus the pass, but it's a pace-up game, and we've seen fantasy points scored in pace-up games. So like, and they're at home. Like the home road splits for Purdy aren't the greatest. They'll probably lean on McCaffrey though, so that's kind of like, he's tough too. I would say the Panthers are my favorite at 2-5. Which is not great.
You write anyone up, Noto? Defense?
No, give all your takes. Save defense.
Yeah, it's ugly. I'm fine with the Pats. Fine with the Lions. Even if Olave plays, I think they're going to have a nice bounce back week after that ugly showing on Thanksgiving. My favorite's the Bucks. I mean, they're great against the run, and you're going to get Bryce Young stepping back to throw 30 plus times. Yeah, give me the Bucks.
You just stole my thunder.
Yeah.
That was my play, the Bucks.
This is my segment, but I feel like every week I get dunked on.
No, you didn't get dunked on.
No, I got dunked on. Noto came with the fire. I'm already circling the wagons. Noto's place.
You've come with enough fire today. You've come with plenty of heat. So you've been dunking on people today. All right. Let's go. Let's finish off with our stacks. Single entry, large field. I made my lineup, and I'm all excited about it on the show. So I'm just gonna give the damn thing.
Can you give it?
So yeah, I can do what I want, I think. Maybe I'll leave out one or so basically I'm doing that double stack with Sam Howell, McLaurin, Samuel, with Waddle and Tyreek as the run back. I'm going the dumpster diving for the cheap chalk tight end, Brevin Jordan. I'm going to play a running back who's chalky. I'm not going to name him just so I won't give the whole thing away. And then going to play Rashid White with the Bucs defense. And that's my Rashad White with the Bucs.
We didn't talk about Rashad White chalk. We didn't talk about Rashad. What's your thoughts on Rashad White as a chalk?
It's Carolina.
But his chalk isn't as bad as usual just because Moss is going to be so high owned that I'm not too worried about it. Carolina, great matchup. And he's like 16 plus fantasy points every week. So, maybe large field stuff you can come in underweight, but small field stuff, I'm going to be all over him.
I mean, I just built the nuts, and nobody seems to care that the nuts have just been built. Like, this is the show where we built the nuts.
I think it's a good team. Yeah,
White 87%. 87% of the snaps last week. It's usage, it's matchup. You pair it with the Bucs defense. It's got like it's this is he catches passes. Like, what else do you want? What else do we want? It's got the high floor, as Noto said, every week.
No, it's fine.
Good chalk. Delicious chalk. Get yourself some. All right. What do you like? What's
Are
your
you guys
stack?
doing Wongs? What are we doing for Wongs?
Oh yeah, we got. Should we look? Well, if we fizzled last week, I didn't even know what we gave, but I got ready for UFC. I'm playing Saruki in UFC, but he's expensive. He's a big favorite, but I'm gonna have him parlayed with like every single play that I bet. Who's Wong eligible? I'll tell you right now. Wong eligible is the Jets. The Steelers are close to Wong eligible. The Titans. I like that'll be my pick for the Wong. Titans +7. It should be 1.5 though, but Titans plus. Wait till to get to 1.5 and play it, or by the extra half a point. But I'll say Titans +7 for now. And do you have another side on that? No, for a Wong.
Yeah, give me the Jags. Get him down to
Yes,
-2.5.
I have the Jags too. Yes, I do. I did that with Dallas. I like that. Nice one. I forgot about that. Bobby, you came with the heat on a play on a single side play. Do you have a single side play?
I didn't even know it won. Yeah, Miami take the 9.5.
Bang! There we go. All right, your stacks, Noto and Bobby.
Pick it to Pickens for me.
We're bringing the heat this show.
Go on your stack first.
I already did mine.
What was yours?
Mine, I gave the entire lineup out. It's Sam Howell, McLaurin, Samuel, Tyreek Waddle, player to be named later at running back who's a good play and cheap. Then Rashad White with the Bucs D. Single entry. Let's go.
It would have been Zappy, but the Cunningham news makes me specifically nervous. It's more of a large field play. I'm going to go Purdy to Kittle and Ayuk.
That's disappointing. You gave a really good stack instead of the Zappy. Zappy to Traquan.
Zappy.
Noto ruined it. Noto ruined it.
But I just was reading the reports. I'm the messenger.
I like that. I appreciate.
Don't kill the messenger. All right, this is going to be a gambling fueled weekend. We got college football going. You follow college football, Noto?
Not really. I'll bet on it, but I don't know anything about
Chop's hammer play is Louisville. So I'm gonna have to tail that. Louisville.
I got you have underdogs.
They're +1.5 against the FSU. I'm gonna have to do a UFC. I'm gonna bet Figueiredo today if anyone catches this in time. I just think I think Rob Font is just very beatable at this point in his life, and there's some question marks and whatnot with Figueiredo moving up in weight. But I'm gonna take him as a dog. I'm gonna be parlaying everything with Sarukian, and let's go. And then we got NFL tomorrow. Big gambling filled weekend, fellas. We done? Any final words for the people? Bobby, great show. Noto, great show.
I think this is the best show, week 13.
That's right. Lucky number, week 13.
Lucky number, week 13. Someone shipping a milli.
Let's get it. All right, this has been the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast, week 13 edition. We will catch you next week. Thank you.